You guys excited to talk about the Doctor Who 50th?
I wasn't really a big fan. Just kidding. I got this.
No way, dude. I bought mine too.
Well, funny story. I also have mine.
There's an app, right? You can do that.
Are you serious?
Tom.
It's 2013.
Tom, you're
guys.
British.
Everything.
Tom, you're the only British
I
one
can do
here.
everything on
You
here.
know, I guess this makes him the companion of the group.
Well, he's pretty enough.
This is true.
Recently, Doctor Who celebrated its 50th anniversary with a very special episode. Right now, we've gathered some of the Pretentious Film Majors' resident Whovians to talk about it. Kenny, what was your initial reaction to the 50th anniversary episode?
It was kind of strange. There was a lot that I obviously really liked, and a lot that I was kind of unsure about. But the parts that I really liked, I really enjoyed the Doctors. Their interactions were incredible, and I don't think it could have been done any other way, really.
I agree. I really loved this episode, honestly. If not for Matt and David's interactions with John Hurt, all the little nuances. This episode was full of fan service, from the Fourth Doctor's scarf, to reverse the polarity, to the school where Susan, the First Doctor's granddaughter, went to. I swear, every little bit was just filled with fan service.
Right, for me, even though I'm only more familiar with New Who, I felt a sense of nostalgia for the series as a whole. It was just a really nice tribute to the legacy, I feel like, of Doctor Who, present and past.
I think the best thing about the episode had to have been the interaction. I mean, Tennant is always, for a lot of people, still his favorite Doctor, and it's clear that while Matt Smith has his kind of, moments, I think Tennant is overall stronger, and their interaction was really good, especially also when you throw John Hurt in the mix. Mm-hmm. And what I did enjoy about the 50th anniversary, because I had a lot of problems with it, but what I did enjoy was the fact that it was like a fan service episode. There was this kind of grand story, but it was also a Doctor Who adventure. Mm-hmm. There was this kind of little thing with the Zygons that went along, which was interesting. I don't know how well they pulled it off, but it wasn't just like, here's a doctor and here's a doctor and there is doctors everywhere.
Literally, that's what it was. That's
I'm
literally
sure
what
that
happened.
was the song.
Actually.
Honestly, though, one thing I'm kind of glad is that they really didn't use Daleks or Cybermen at all. I mean, to emphasize the Time War, obviously they had to use Daleks, but they weren't really a plot episode in this device.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. And the Zygons, covered in suckers.
Yeah.
Great pissers.
So many hilarious moments.
Yeah, no, it was funny.
Vintage
it was funny,
Doctor
yeah.
Who comedy in this episode.
I laughed, and it's been a while
Yeah,
since
I
I've laughed in Doctor Who. It's been a while since
Genuinely
I've laughed.
enjoyed it.
So, Tom,
Because of that.
you mentioned things that you were disappointed in. What were some of the biggest things that disappointed you?
The biggest disappointments are some disappointments that I've had with Doctor Who for a very long time, really since the beginning of the Matt Smith, Moffat running the show era. Moffat is a talented writer, and he knows how to write episodes. It's clear from the Davies era that some of the best episodes were written by Moffat. You had the Silence in the Library episodes. Doctor's Daughter, I think, was one of them too.
Don't Blink also, right?
Blink was one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Was
so many
it?
great episodes were written by Moffat. But as a guy who's trying to construct an arc, I think he gets a little too crazy with his ideas. And a big thing has been, for me, just things not explained, or Deus Ex Machina. And that is exactly what happened in this episode. I'm about to spoil it, just so people are aware.
They've seen it. They have enough time.
Spoilers,
Right? Yeah.
sweetie.
Just so people know. But
See what you did there.
but in the end, I mean, we still don't know how they were able to go to the wall because it was meant to be time locked. Tennant mentions it. He's like, "This is time locked. We're not meant to be here." And Matt Smith's like, "Well, someone let us do it," and then they just could undo it. They were just like, "Well, if we gather all the doctors, we can just make it go away." That was literally their solution.
I mean, to play devil's advocate, because of the tear in reality, the
Why
time
was
war,
there a tear in reality?
it happened. I mean, it's
Right,
like-
that is exactly the problem with Doctor Who for the past 3 seasons. Anything can just happen to undo anything because there's no rules. And with Davies, there was a set of rules. We were talking about this,
Right.
that bit with the door, right, where he's like, if I start the sequencing Now,
That was brilliant.
you know,
That was really
and
good.
it will go for the next couple of centuries as how long it takes to unsequence the door. Oh, by the way, you're my 400-year-old future self. That, even though it makes no sense logically, makes some kind of sense
Timey-wimey
within the
sense.
constructs. It makes timey-wimey sense.
Yeah.
Whereas just pulling a plot to make the planet disappear, which has already been used before in Doctor Who, it just coming out of nowhere was a big problem I had with this episode, and just changing anything. And we've still got so many plot threads left over. I don't understand what the silence was. I still don't get any of that.
To be fair, you did see the preview for the Christmas episode.
Yeah, it does say silence will fall. So if Moffat, I was telling Ken this, if Moffat can tie up all the loose ends, I'm gonna flip and be like, Doctor Who's the greatest show ever again. But yeah, no, they just Deus Ex Machina every episode, and they did it in the 50th, and that really disappointed.
I mean, how do you explain a crack in reality? It's like,
there shouldn't have been one.
I mean, but they've been a consistent thing in Moffat's run, cracks.
Yeah, and I've never liked any of it.
Even though it was implied a lot in this episode with retconning, I think Moffat did manage to fix it towards the end.
Well, that was the interesting thing about it, though, because it wasn't retconned. It's that Gallifrey was always, as I took it, Gallifrey was always saved. The Doctor just never knew.
Right.
Which was a good aspect, which made sense.
Right. So, Matt, how do you think this 50th anniversary episode treated the legacy of Doctor Who, and how do you think it'll impact the future moving forward?
Honestly, I think it was a good tribute to the whole legacy in general, because they did pay tribute to a lot of classic Who, which in the past was a huge concern, because we knew that not all the Doctors would be in it. Like, we wouldn't see all, what is it now, 8 who are still surviving, I guess, together, even though we did get that little tribute at the end, which I enjoyed.
We got Peter Capaldi too.
His intense eyes.
And just the
That was great. I literally I went, whoa.
yeah,
that
he
was awesome.
was like, ah.
I think one of my favorite moments was when they tied old Who and New Who together,
And-
when Hurt was regenerating and you saw Eccleston's
Yeah.
eyes,
And Billy Piper coming back, but not
but
as
not
Rose.
as Rose Tyler.
That was really
was
interesting.
good.
I enjoyed that a lot.
But I think for the future, I think it's going forward going to be a good thing. I am excited for the Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Because we got hinted at it in the season finale, and even more hinted it for the 50th anniversary. So I think it's all building up to that now.
I think even though I failed to kind of enjoy this episode as much as I wish I could, I think it has set me up for a good future. I'm looking forward to Capaldi's Doctor. The Doctor now has a mission, kind of like to find Gallifrey.
Right.
I feel like it's kind of trying to reset things, and it's trying to renew the show again, and reboot it, which I think is exactly what it needs, because there's just too much timey-wimey stuff going on right now.
Well, that does it for our discussion on the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who. For more from the Pretentious Film Majors, subscribe to our channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, check out our new Instagram, or go to pretentiousfilmmajors.com.
Doctor Who!
Doctor Who!
Doctor Woo!
Yeah!
Yeah. Tom, what are you doing?
No!
Tom.